Hey, good morning. Bob here. It's Saturday, August 1st, 2026. Just a couple of quick little things. I finished gluing in the Purflings on this spruce guitar. And this morning, after my walk, I removed the fake binding here. And I also, so as an example, this would have been in here like this, kind of a spacer, if you will. Okay. And I think it goes like that. Anyway, I took all the tape off and removed these cardboard spacers. They have packing tape on both sides of them, and this is what you see, the tape coming off, because I've used it a lot. But anyway, that's another story. So I got the fake bindings off, and now I've got the purfling all the way coming around to the new stuff that I glued yesterday. I'm going to leave this on a little bit longer before I take off the tape. But you can see how nice this fits now. When I put the binding on, it fits great, and that'll be the next thing I do. So that's a little update on that. The other thing is, here's the other binding. It goes over here. And you may remember me talking about me not being able to find my black dye. On this particular binding, and this was no accident, I had a little, this is Indian rosewood. It's a very dark Indian rosewood. And I had a little area on this one piece where I had some sapwood. I don't know if you can see it right here. It's a little bit of sapwood coming into place here. And I figured that by the time I plane down the bindings after they're glued in place and I plane off the excess, it's only about 1/16 of an inch, okay? And I wanted to dye it with black dye before I glued it on. So I've been looking everywhere for my black dye. And this is just a humorous little story. As you know, possibly we were going to move in October of 25, but I had a brain tumor and I had to have my head cut open. And they had to go in my skull and take out this tumor. And we were right in the middle of going to move, about 15 miles from here, 1-5. We had packed up a lot of stuff, and I had packed up a lot of stuff in my workshop, brought it over to a storage unit in Claremont where we were going to move. And my little bottle of black dye, I looked everywhere for this bottle. I looked behind this camera. There's boxes in the garage. You can't see them. They're behind the camera. I went through all those boxes. I went through all the boxes in my overflow room for the business here. I have a room right next to the garage here, which I hang the guitars up and I store my guitars in there and everything. I looked in all the boxes in there. Everything's sealed up because we were going to move. I looked everywhere. I looked in my drawers. I looked all over the place. I could not find this bottle. So knowing that I wanted to stain this little tiny thing, I could almost do it with a black Sharpie. But a black Sharpie really isn't that permanent. And I've used fingerboard stain before. I bought it from Lithia Mercantile years ago. I had a little bottle of it. So finally, after looking everywhere yesterday, I finally said, okay, I'll order another bottle. And I went online and I saw that Stuart McDonald sells Black India ink made by Higgins. And I also saw that it was not permanent. I didn't like that part. And they were out of stock anyway. But I looked up the Higgins ink and I could buy it from a different supplier and blah, blah, blah. But as I looked at the bottle on the internet, I knew it wasn't what I had. I knew I had a different brand. The bottle looked different. I finally figured it out that it was a brand called Fiebings, Fiebings. And it's kind of an odd name, but I remember the look of the bottle and the label and the whole thing. So I went online and I went to walmart.com. They had it. And I was going to get it, would be sent here by Wednesday through Saturday of this coming week. And I thought, well, that sucks because I might be gluing these bindings in, before that. So anyway, but I resolved myself to the fact that, okay, whatever, I gotta wait. So I'll wait. I ordered the bottle and free shipping from Walmart, but with Florida tax, it was like $10. $10 and some change. I ordered it yesterday afternoon, maybe, I don't know, 1 or 2 o'clock. Finally said, okay, whatever. Last night I went to bed. I'm lying in bed about 11 p.m. And I'm thinking about this. Where did I put that bottle of stain? And finally, as clear as day, I figured the one place that the one box that I didn't look in, this little box right here. And if you can believe this little box it's out of frame from what you're seeing, but it was essentially right behind me. It was over here on this other workbench, right on the corner. And I had my super glues in it. And once again, we were gonna move, so I put all the super glues in the box, right over here on the corner, literally 3 feet from me where I work. And so I thought, I really think it's in there. And then I thought, I'm pretty sure it's in there. I'll check it out tomorrow morning, which would have been this morning. Well, that lasted about 3 minutes. And I got up out of bed, I had to know. And I came out to the workshop, shut the door so my wife wouldn't wake up, turned on the light, went over to the box. I looked in, and there it was. Couldn't believe it. So here it is, in the plastic bag that I put it in. And I thought I would turn this funny story into just a little lesson. You've seen this maybe before. And this is called Professional Oil Dye, made by Fiebings, F-I-E, Fiebings, I don't know. F-I-E, I guess it's Phi, like dye. F-I-E-B-I-N-G apostrophe S. Now, I have used this before because I have had fingerboards in the past with streaks in them. And I would put them on guitars that weren't quite my very, very best guitars. And I would use this stuff to dye the fingerboard jet black. And believe it or not, it works fantastic. Okay? This is an oil dye. It is not a alcohol-based dye, because some of the dye they sell, if I'm not mistaken, is alcohol-based. Matter of fact, I think the one that I ordered is an alcohol-based dye versus an oil dye. Lithium Mercantile used to sell the oil dye, and I just wanted to say that this stuff is great. It works. You got to shake the bottle before you use it to put everything into suspension. And then rubber gloves. I'll put on a rubber glove and just take a little t-shirt and just wet it a little bit with some of that dye. And then I'll just wipe it onto this binding before I glue it. That'll be my safety backup. Rather than going in there with an artist brush after it's glued on. I think it's going to be planed off. Most of it will be removed. It's only about 1/16 of an inch of this little bit of sapwood. But I found the dye. I knew I had it. I looked everywhere and it was literally 3 feet behind me. And I've been looking for days for this little bottle. So now I'm going to have 2 bottles. I'm going to have a alcohol-based and I'm going to have an oil-based. I will use this one because by the time that the other one comes, these bindings will already be glued on. So there's my little story. And, I wasn't crazy. I knew I had it. I just didn't know where I put it. So I'm excited about this guitar because the Purflings are on, and I'm going to do a little tutorial about how I do them, because when I'm gluing the second set on, I don't butt glue them. I stagger the joints. Remember, there's 2 pieces for a total of 4 lines. So I stagger the joints down here, and I go beyond the center line, and by staggering the joints, you never see the connection. It's impossible to see it when it's all done. I can't show you on a wide shot like this, but that's it. And once I get these bindings on, I am going to go to the cedar top guitar and do the same thing. Route for the bindings, fit the bindings, and then route for the Purflings, and that's it. Now, last thing, real quick. Once all the bindings are on, now I'm going to scrape off the excess, just like I did on the back, carefully, because I don't want to hurt the top. I'm going to be very careful with a very sharp scraper. I'll scrape them flush, and then I'll sand with 220. I'll sand the entire top with 220. And essentially, I'll take this tape off here at the bridge, and of course I'll remove this wax paper, and I will sand the top lightly. And as I'm sanding the edges, that will be my 3rd edge graduation. That's going to be my 3rd and final graduation. Just like I did the 2nd graduation. It'll be the same, only it's not going to be 150. It will be 220, and it will be rather a light graduation. It's not going to be, I'm not going to be removing much wood, just a little tiny bit of sawdust. Now, after the whole top is sanded to 220, most of the finish, if not all the finish that I wiped on, that'll be gone. Now I'm going to take the top to 320, and I'll sand it thoroughly with 320, and I'll probably hit it with 400 as well. I use this Norton paper, this sort of beige colored Norton paper, and I fold it over and glue it together just like I've shown you in previous videos how I do my sandpaper. Once I got it all sanded, final sanded, I will round over the bindings on the top, and I will do that because I'm going to start my French polishing at that point. I'll round over the bindings. I use a scraper and sandpaper and get them nice and comfy. And it's not a little rounding. I round them quite a lot. and I will retape off where the fingerboard goes, and I will put a fresh tape where the bridge goes. I will locate this exactly where the bridge goes, put the tape on, and I will start French polishing. And I'm going to take you through that because I will do about, I would say I would do about 6 to 8 sessions, complete sessions, maybe even 10 sessions. I will essentially French polish the top, and it will be looking really good when I'm done. And I always French polish the top. I won't be doing the back and sides at this point, just the top. And the reason is because I'm going to be gluing on the fingerboard after I French polish the top. And I'll take you through that too. The fingerboards are already slotted and thicknessed to the rough thickness. 7 millimeters is where I start. They're already slotted, but I have to shape them and then glue them on, and I'll take you through that. And I like to French polish first because it's a lot easier to do it rather than work in the corners of where the fingerboard is. Same with the bridge. It's easier to French polish before you put the bridge on, okay? Now, I'm not going to do all of the French polishing because after the fingerboard is on and after the bridge is on, I will do more French polishing, okay? But that won't happen until I French polish the entire guitar because I'll still have to carve the neck, and I don't put the frets in until after the neck is carved, okay? Unlike some people who put the frets in before the neck is carved, I found that you carve the neck first because sometimes it'll move a little bit. It can move up, it can move back, and if you haven't put the frets in yet, you can still make some minor adjustments to the top of the fingerboard by sanding, okay? All right, so that's it. That's my little story. Fiebings, Fiebings, oil dye, black, lithium mercantile. This is what they used to sell. They're out of business now. And it works. It's great stuff. I've used it on fingerboards before, okay? That's it. Bob checking out. I hope you all have a great weekend. It's Saturday, 11:15 now. And go out and go for a walk and enjoy yourself. Pick up some trash while you're strolling. Okay, bye-bye.